So this job was for tree clearance away from a house, and there was this massive dead limb as well that was right over sitting there. This tree had been cut before with a codominant stem, as you can see right there. And I'm taking off that branch up there, which goes over the house. Plus, the main objective is to clear these Japanese maples, which were planted for landscape. And that's the limb I'm taking off right there. It's really big, bigger than it looks from here, but it would just obliterate the landscape. So what I decided to do was use 3 anchor ropes, because if I used one rope to swing it, it could swing it could come down and swing violently and hit the landscape, and I didn't want that. So I'm going to have to attach 3 different ropes, which means I'm making a total of 6 shots, because and it took me about the average 2 shots to get the crotches I wanted. Some of them I got in 1 shot, some of them it was 3, but I had to get 3 anchor points tied off and then lower the rope through 3 different crotches. So that's a total of 6 points of contact, 3 for the branch and then 3 individual lowering crotches in the neighboring trees. And it was just a lot of rigging. I edited this thing down, but there was just so much line shooting, and then I'd miss a shot, have to redo it, reflake my string into my bucket. There's a lot of work involved that you're not seeing, because I don't want to make it a 30-minute, half-hour long video. Here my ball returns right back to me. I love it when that happens. Chink. That's me putting in the climb line right there, sending it up. That's my ecstatic, Teufelberg ecstatic. And this tree right here, you can see had previously been cut. It had a codominant stem. I told the owners that eventually they're probably going to have to take this whole tree out, because I just don't like that. That thing's it's too big to compartmentalize. The rot's going to get down in the structural part of the tree. But, I mean, here I am going up it. And it's a pretty massive tree, considering. But finally I'm getting up. Before I can cut off that branch that's anchored, that we've got 3 points of contact anchor, I'm going to have to cut off a couple of limbs up here that are in my way, and I'm going to reset my rope in the canopy here. In the stationary rope technique, there's advantages and disadvantages to having a canopy anchor, an upper anchor, or a basal anchor. I'm using a basal anchor because it's much more easier to retrieve your rope if you have your anchor up in the tree. And also, you can, with a basal anchor, you can distribute the load, the force load of the weight of your body on the rope. You can distribute it over more points of contact if you have a single top anchor, unless you set up a whole bunch of redirects. There's a lot involved in static rope technique. I'm starting to like it more because it's easier to get up in the tree, get up in the canopy, and plus I'm climbing these trees without spikes. I mean, that's my style. I hardly ever climb a tree. Only time I use spikes is if I'm doing a total removal. But if I'm not doing a total removal of a tree, I don't wear spikes. And right up here, my rope, when I shot the line, got caught in some twiggy branches, and I want to free them up and get it so it lays in the crotches that I want a lot better. And also, I don't like the idea of damaging a potential good upper canopy branch, that can develop and photosynthesize, so I'm freeing it up.
It's much more secure the way it is now.
So I got to get this one branch off that I'm standing on completely, and I'm going to take some other small dead branches out. And then I can go over and do the main reason for going up this tree, which is getting that big dead branch off. I'm going to speed line this one down. There I got a redirect for my basal anchor line because it was in the way of the swing. And I did my undercut first so it doesn't peel back, as it just pops off like that, right where I wanted it. Rehook up my speed line for one more drop after I get these dead branches out of here and catch that with my saw so it doesn't land on the deck. Pull this guy back, throw it down in the right spot. After I freed up that branch, it was still bent over, but I wanted to maneuver it into its original position so it can grow properly. And here I'm moving around a lot because tree work is always about getting into the right body position so you can be in the right ergonomic position so you can cut properly and safely. And climbing a D-current tree, which are trees shaped like oaks, they're a lot more challenging because it's hard to find the perfect anchor point all the time. In this tree, I was constantly over at some pendulum angle. I was over, at some like 45-degree angle half the time. When you climb a Doug fir or a ponderosa pine, it's just a straight up tree. Those are pretty easy to climb, much easier, because your anchor point, your gravity line is usually straight up and down. 80% of the time, you're not dealing with getting over at some weird pendulum angle. It's a lot more straightforward. Doing D-current trees like this requires a lot more rigging involvement and positioning and stuff like that. Here I'm going to just let it finish rocking back and forth before I cut it off because I don't want it to swing and hit that deck. I want it to land smooth. I like getting my final cuts nice and perfect. Just the outside of the branch bark ridge perpendicular to the axis of the branch. Here I'm going for a more perfect angle on the final bevel. I'm just this is my pet peeve. I'm just like to make it just right. Okay, now what I was originally here for, to get this big dead branch off. Get it repositioned right where I want it.
See what happens with these 3 tie-in points. I got the blue rope there, the white rope here, yellow rope tying off the base.
It worked perfect. All 3 lowering ropes held that thing perfect. It didn't rotate or anything. I'm going to come down and help them with the final lowering process. We got most of the ropes all anchored off on, they're wrapped around trees, so they're good. I'm done up in the tree anyways. We we went ahead and lowered the white rope off where we could lower it and let it rotate in a controlled, slow manner so there wasn't any like violent whipping action. And everything worked out good. There it is, suspended. Nothing was damaged. So I'm trying to get these guys to lower the other two ropes slowly, and I'll redirect it. I'll direct that branch away from the Japanese maples.
More. Dave, just keep feeding it out, Keep feeding it out.
So we just took our time lowering it slowly so I could push it out of the way, swing it over in a clear space, and worked out really good.
More.
Thing is get the ropes cleared out of the way before I start doing any cutting. That one pulled out of the way.
So give us slack. Okay, hold it and just let it down slow. All right.
Well, everything went perfect today. It was great. Perfect weather. Couldn't ask for a better day. Now I got to put all my gear away. Lots of ropes. Get everything coiled up and put away.